Self-doubt doesn't need a bad day. That's the part that nobody warns you about. And this is episode 5 of the Toxic 10. And today we are talking about self-doubt. Yes. And if you had asked me back when I used to struggle, when I struggled with self-doubt, I would have probably said, "Oh no." I would have just said, I'd have told you, "Oh, I just needed more experience." I wasn't doubting myself. It was just experience I was looking for. But looking back now, it was everywhere. And it wasn't just that one bad day. It was most days, even on the good ones, the doubt still crept in, right? It was still showing up. And I could qualify and still think I need one more course. I could finish an assignment and have someone tell me I had done really well, and somehow only remember maybe that one sign I hesitated on. I would walk into a room full of interpreters and immediately decide everyone else belonged there more than I did. And I could spend an hour preparing for an assignment that I've already done a dozen of times before. And I'm still preparing as if, no, it's the first time I'm about to go into this thing. What if this is the time they realize that, ooh, I'm not as good as they think I am? What if that's the thing that people are thinking in that moment, that this is what's going on? And I remember getting lovely feedback after an assignment, people genuinely thanking me. And it's not just from the hearing part, it's from the deaf people as well, telling me I've made a difference, telling me that, oh yeah, they appreciate me being like what I've done and everything. And instead of just letting it sink in and I just accepting what they've said, my brain will start looking for mistakes that they didn't notice. And they're just saying that to just make me feel better, that, okay, at least I've done something. That's where my brain will go. That's where it would just fill up the gap with different things that, oh, they're just trying to be kind, right? They just don't want, they can tell that I'm new. And so they just don't want me to lose hope. So they're just saying that as the kind-hearted person they are, right? They probably just missed the bit and just they don't want me to feel bad. Maybe they can just tell I'm very sensitive. All the stories, somebody's there telling you something and in your head you're saying, oh yeah, you're just you're just sugarcoating it. You're just I'm having a different conversation than the one that I seen. They're like and not receiving it, not letting it land, not taking it on. If they knew what was going on in my head, they wouldn't even be saying what they're saying. They would have just you know what, she's not even gonna she's not gonna let it land. And this also, even when I had qualified, I had gotten the certification that, look, babe, you can do this. There still wasn't this magical moment where I suddenly felt like, yeah, I'm that interpreter. I mean, I had the qualification. I've had the experience. I've had people book me again and again. And somehow I still felt that I was waiting for someone to officially tell me, now you belong. I don't know, just waiting for something to tell me, yeah, you're good now. Even though I've got the good, if you're safe to practice, I was still waiting for that extra confirmation. And here's a strange thing about self-doubt, is that it doesn't always shout. Yeah, sometimes it whispers. Just do one more course. Just get yourself really hammed in on this thing, get the practice in, prepare a bit more, Like this might come up or that might wait until you have enough, right? Wait until you're completely ready, like you feel it in your bones. And it does sound sensible, right? It sounds responsible. It even sounds humble. It sounds like, hey, I mean, you're qualified, you've got booked, and you're still waiting for permission to believe that you can do this. Yeah, that's what self-doubts can do to one. And underneath all of these questions, I kept asking myself without even realizing that this is what I was doing. What if I'm not good enough? I don't know if you've ever had that questioned yourself about that. Because here's the problem with that question. If you will never find enough evidence to answer it. That's the bottom line. Like you keep asking. It won't come because the self-doubt isn't looking for proof. Right? It's looking for permission to stay. That's the problem. So every time when we're asking for things, we're looking for like, okay, this is to justify and this is a thing. But when you keep asking and you have that doubt, it's not. Self-doubt is wanting something or someone or somehow to say, yes, you are. And that's the part that changes everything for me. Because once I saw it, you can hand self-doubt every certificate you own, every continuous personal development you can go on, every feedback that says, man, you are so good, you are great, you are this. You can hand self-doubt all those things, every piece of good feedback you've got, everything, every booking, every referral, every thank you, and it wouldn't accept any of it as proof. Because it was never running on evidence in the first place. So all those things does not make the self-doubt go away. And this is something that personal development world sometimes call the imposter syndrome, right? Like it's a single crisis you move through and out of. But for interpreters, it's really that tidy. It is quiet, it is long-term companion that we lash onto. It's the one more course, that extra CPD, that additional certification, that mentor, like just checking in, those skills that you're investing on, they are genuinely useful. Those things are great to do and have, but none of them will come close to filling that gap because the gap was never about a knowledge gap. It was an identity gap. You can't become more qualified every single year. You can't, right? I mean, you can become more qualified every single year if that's what you want to do. However, you still feel exactly the same amount of shakiness underneath it, regardless of how much. Like in my domain as a British Sign Language interpreter, we have to like collect about 24 points every single year to make sure that we're still safe to practice, still got it, still doing this. And even with that, a lot of us, a lot of colleagues, the doubt is still creeping in, it's still showing up. On paper, everything looks great. Everything looks fabulous. But because the part of you that is still asking, am I enough, was never going to be settled by another qualification, you see. It wasn't. It was because that thing is asking a different kind of question entirely. When you really ask the question, getting another thing is not going to answer that question. So for me, self-doubt wasn't the one bad day. It wasn't a one single setback that I could just point, okay, this is it. This is what that self-doubt is. It was the quiet habit of questioning myself, even on the days that I've already done enough. right? The days where I have like, I've shown up, I've played full, I've done the thing. Even on those days where I looked, honestly, there was nothing wrong. Everything seemed okay. I did everything accordingly. And still, the doubt was still there. It was still creeping in. And if this all sounds familiar to you, and if you've ever sat with good feedback and immediately went, oh gosh, you're just trying to make me feel good right now, and gone straight to the floors, gone straight to, oh yeah, they didn't see when I missed that, or this didn't happen. If that's where you are right now, if you have ever stood in a room and quietly decided everyone else better than me here, they're more experienced, or they belong here, I want you to notice something. You weren't missing evidence in those scenario. You were never going to accept the evidence, even in the first place, if they ever even gave it to you. Because this is not a flaw in you, you see. That's just what this particular pattern does, this self-doubt. And once you see it clearly for what it is, what self-doubt is doing to you in the profession, even your life, you get to start asking a different question than, am I enough? Am I good enough? You get to start asking yourself, what would I do today if I already believe I was? What would I do today if I already believe I was? And if this sounds familiar, go take the free interpreter identity audit. It will be in the description box below. 10 minutes, completely free. And it will show you which pattern is showing up most for you right now. As this is episode 5, we've already tackled hesitation. We've talked about fear of failure. We've talked about procrastination, fear of success, and today with self-doubt. There's another 5 more to go. So the series links also will be in the description box below. And yeah, so if you just want to keep going, just figure out, okay, this other one showing up for me and all this good stuff. I am Nene, and we do this every single day. Remember that your voice matters, and it is your time to use it. Bye for now.